Life is precious, and we all have the opportunity of living it to the fullest. Unfortunately, so few of us know how to manage it all. How do we account for our opportunities? How do we account for our time? How do we account for our relationships, health, spirituality, homes, finances, influence, and careers? How do we account for the one life we have to live? I am so glad you asked. In this program, you will find answers to all of these questions and more. Welcome to the Account for Your Life podcast with your host, the healthy accountant himself, Jay Moore.
What's happening, everybody? And I want to welcome you back to another episode of the Account for Life podcast. Here's what we're talking about today. The power of a changed life. The power of a changed life. We're going to look at the definition of change. We'll also look at the definition of life and just drill down into this power and what it can mean for you when it comes to the power of a changed life. So let's jump right into this. And, I had an idea recently kind of around this, but I'm not going to speak specifically on it, but I had an idea about change recently and about a change that kind of occurred in my life. And I was just like, that's interesting how I did that. And then how a lot of people struggle with that. And I says, that's a clue. When you do something and other people may have that particular problem, it may be a clue to something you can do in the marketplace. So I was thinking about that. And then I thought about today and kind of like how we can talk about, this whole topic of account for your life, which at the foundation of account for your life is change, right? So that's what we're talking about. At the foundation of account for your life is to change your life. And so what is change? Here's what change is. Make different. Make different. So let's think about change is to make something different. And if we're just looking at our own personal lives, and before we decide to change, we've got to decide, well, what am I going to change into, or what do I need to change? Better yet, what do I want to change, right? If you're in business, what do you want to change in business? If you're thinking about your health, what would you like to or want to change with your health? What would you like to change with your relationship? What would you like to change, around the things that matter most to you? What do you like to change? And it says to make different. Like that's the first definition. And then it also says alter or modify. So we have to alter something. I was reading the scripture some years ago, and I read a particular scripture over and over, but I didn't know what it meant. And that's interesting about scripture. Have you ever read the Bible and you're like what does this stuff mean? I'm getting tired of reading it. Like that's how it was when I was young all the way up to over 40. That's how much I didn't understand the Bible. Until one day someone read it to me. And then they helped me to see something that I never saw. And I was immediately altered. I was immediately changed. I was like, that's what that said the whole time? Wait a second. Now let me test it. Let me go check. Because a lot of times someone tell you something, you might have to go check. Like if I say something here, go check. Go figure out, is Jay telling the truth? Is this something that I should listen to? All right, the power of a changed life. And we're just getting into the definition of change. And so the first definition we came up with was make different. And just now we came up with alter or modify. So you want to modify your life. You want to modify something. How do you do that? We're not getting to how yet. Let's look at another definition. Replace with something else. Okay, now that's good. Replace. So that means that we got to remove something. It's kind of like, hey, I got this phone, but I want to get a new phone. Oh my goodness, I got this book, but I want to get a new book. I just got finished drinking a protein shake. I want to get something else. I've got this computer. I got this computer that's sitting over here that, it's kind of, I need to replace it. We get into this power of a changed life because when your life changed, guys, do you know that everything around you could potentially change? Everything. All right. So replace. And then it also says something of the same kind that is newer or better. Substitute. Oh man, just that whole replacement theory is awesome. So let's see what else it says about change. Now we're going to look at a couple more definitions, and then we're going to get into life, and then we're going to get into the how of how someone can utilize the power of a changed life. The act or instance of making or becoming different. Becoming. I love becoming. Here's the thing about becoming. Do you know your whole life is about becoming something? Well, think about it. When we're young, I wouldn't even say when we're young, the culture that you have been brought up in, just like I was brought up in, they want you to become something. They have created systems for you to become. Now, the question is, do you know what the system has created so that you can become? Do you know what it is? See, this is the biggest problem that we face in our society right now. The system has already chosen for you who you would become. Yeah, I know I'm going to stop. I'm going to kind of slow it down right here because I don't want to go too fast here, because the system has already created you for whatever it wants from you. That's why you have to, and I have to harness this power of a changed life. So the system has already said, Jay's going to be everybody that comes into the world. The way that they're going to become the way we want them to become is we're going to put them through a series of educational programs. And these educational programs would produce exactly what we would like them to do. Now, we do understand, this is me in the system talking like I'm in the system or created the system. And so then they also said, well, you know what? A few people are going to jump ship and they're not going to believe it, but that's okay. It's going to be so small of a number that it won't matter, because most of the people will stay in our system and they will be our pawns. You played chess before? If you've ever played chess, and I haven't played chess in many years, but I remember playing chess. The one thing I learned is that your pawn is one of those things that you would give up your pawn so that you could save your queen or your king. You're not going to allow your king to go down or your queen to go down if you've got pawns to put around that king or queen. So you put the pawn out there and you just make sure, I'm not going to lose my king. I'm going to give my pawns up. What if I told you the system has been created for you to be a pawn? So there's kings and queens behind you, and they're using you as their pawn. I know. Jay, is that true? Well, you get to decide. Remember, I said at the beginning, you get to test whether or not I'm saying the truth, because you could disagree with me. You could say, Jay, you got conspiracy theorists. This isn't a conspiracy theory. Just go and look. Just go and pay attention. Go watch the news for a day. Go watch the news for a day. Go and test to see, well, what are they really teaching in elementary school and high school? And what are they really teaching in college? Why don't you go and test? Now, I'm not saying you don't learn stuff in college. College, you actually can learn. Both places you learn stuff. But you got to test. Well, what am I being created into, or what am I becoming as I'm going through this process? You must test that for yourself. And then when you get there and you've tested it, then you say, well, do I need to change? There's some power here. There's some power I've got to harness. Over the past several days, I've been using power in every podcast title. For some reason, it's weird. I don't know why it's been coming up every time, but for some reason, see, why am I using power? I'm using power because power is an ability. Power is an ability. But here's the thing. The reason why we don't have power, and I've spoken on this before, the reason why we miss the power is because we miss the one thing that the system has not helped us to develop. Are you ready? Are you ready for what I'm going to tell you right now? That's why the power of change life is everything. The system will not teach you to discover you. They won't. The system, the programs won't teach you to learn you. The 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 culture won't allow you to become the person that you've been created to be. It won't. It's not set up for that. It's set up to produce you into just being a consumer. Consume, 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 but not to produce. That's why the power of change life is everything. And now we're going to get into this change. Why would you change? Here's what they don't teach. They don't teach purpose. Remember, and we've talked, I've talked about purpose to infinitum. Everything that we have in our life, we know the purpose of those things. You know the purpose of the computer. You know the purpose of the phones. You know the purpose of a car. You know the purpose of all the things around you. But yet, the most powerful things on the planet don't know their purpose for being here. The most powerful things on the planet don't know why. How did that happen? That's why I said, go test the system. Go and see if Jay is telling the truth. See, here's what's interesting about the Bible. And here's what's interesting about God and Jesus and, and that whole thing. It's not what you've been told it is. The Bible is not a religious book. God is not religious. Jesus was not religious. They are from a government. They are from a kingdom, and that kingdom says that, hey, you're from here. This is where you are from. And because you're from here, I want to show you how you can just simply come in, enter into where you are truly from, even though you live here, you are from here, and look at it, all the benefits that happen when you know where you are from. It's just like, we were in the Bahamas a couple of years ago, and I'm almost done, a couple of minutes. We were in the Bahamas a couple of years ago. My mentor, Dr. Miles, is from there, but Dr. Miles is gone. So obviously I never got a chance to meet him, but we're there. Here's why we were in the Bahamas. It's beautiful. Oh my goodness, the water is beautiful. Oh man, we was on the boat. We went out for we was on the boat one whole day, and we're snorkeling and we're swimming in that beautiful ocean, and it's so clear. And I mean, just the whole week was just amazing. Why were we there? We were not there because of the government. Even though the government has allowed us to come in, they checked our passports, make sure we were legal, make sure we weren't illegal people trying to get into their country, make sure we had documentation. But we were there because of the benefits that country offered, that island offered. We were there because of that. And all I can say is that it was the most beautiful time. Being with your family, being with friends, but experiencing the benefits of what the Bahamas is. Do you know? That's exactly what the kingdom is. It's a country. It's an island that's beautiful, has everything that you want. All you got to do is go there. And here's the thing. When you go there, they will say, "Come on in and just have everything that we have." The power of a changed life. All right, let's get into this, and I'm gonna let you out of here. So we talked about change. What is change? It is to become different. You got to become something, right? And then life. What is a life? Lastly, what is a life? A life is an existence of an individual. So we all have a life. We all have an existence. And because we have an existence, now we have to say, wait a second, what is the purpose of this existence? And what is it that I need to change to harness this power? This how-to thing, and I'm learning how to do the how-to. I think I'm going to teach this in a challenge coming up soon, but it's really just going to be about the mindset of a business owner and how the business owner can literally change their life. I'm going to teach this. I was born for this, right? Do you know what you've been born for? See, that's the thing. You have to, it's kind of like when I read Jesus' story, Jesus was unapologetic about why he was born. He was unapologetic. I was born to save the world. I was born to do this. I was born to be the life. I was born to be the water. I was born to be the bread. I was born to be the Son of Man. I am the Son of God. He was born for it. He was unapologetic. He knew without a shadow of a doubt, and no one could tell him otherwise. When Peter tried to say, man, what are you talking about? He was telling Peter about his purpose and how he's going to die. And Peter's talking about, this is his inner circle. Peter is talking to him and says, look, that ain't going to happen. And he looked at him and called Peter the devil. Are you willing to call your friend, your closest friend, the devil? He called his closest friend the devil, even though they never broke up. But I think I talked about this a couple weeks ago. I think Pete was a little mad about that, a little salty. So that's why Jesus told him, he says, man, you're going to deny me 3 times. And he did. Now let's finish up here with the power of a changed life. Change. What is change? What is change? In order to harness the power, we got to know what change is. Here's what change is. Change is to just redirect, to just, you know what? I'm going this way. Let me go this way. And here's the thing. And you just go that way until you don't look back. Like you don't look back. You just go that way. You say, you know what? That was the wrong way. I'm going this way. And here's what happens. And this is probably what I wound up teaching in my challenge. Here's what happens. Immediately, you're going to have hardships. Immediately, you're going to have challenges. Immediately, you're going to have problems. And most people stop right there and they retreat. And that's it. And their life never changes. So to harness this power, you cannot, you will not stop going towards that direction in which you are being led to go, period. It's a power, guys. It's an ability. It's about moving, and it's about allowing the one who has created you and me to discover the one thing about you. That one thing is the reason for your life. If you can discover that, I can guarantee you, you will change your life for the rest of your life. Guys, I appreciate you for joining me for another episode of this Account for Your Life podcast. I am Jay Moore, the healthy accountant. I help people like you account for their life and their business. God bless, and I will see you on the next episode. Peace.
Thanks for joining us, listening friends. We are so glad you invested this time with us. Always remember, you only have one life to live, so live it to the fullest. This has been the Account for Your Life podcast with your host, the healthy accountant himself, Jay Moore. Until next time, make it a great day.